Goodbye, thanks. Back. Yeah, I just looked at here, it just.
Good morning, sir. Hello. Oh. There, sir. All right.
Yeah, it's cracking, man. That could get a lot worse. Morning, how are y'all?
I'm gonna ask you about that in about 2 hours.
I hope it's not 2 hours before I'm ticked off. Yeah, we are. Oh. We'll have to get, if we're gonna be in here very long, then we'll have to get a better cushion for this chair.
One more, say one.
Yeah. I just been in a truck this morning, hauled 2 loads.
Yeah. How old are you?
Not for long.
Well, a big one could possibly in her hands.
All right.
You said they go and they give you the tolls back. Whatever. Or you said you have an account number on the toll, you know what you said? Yeah, okay. And so then you go down and have another toll. Another account. So it's adding those amounts. Why? I think you understand, all those are on there. And it totals it, but then it takes the total and adds time total. And a sense of what you're saying. That's the word. So that's the only program. So it was.
You know, they took that bad. They just took all the. They were discriminating.
Right.
They should have accommodated that.
Then the.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I
I see something.
Yeah.
You may. I don't remember. But I think so, I think that's what it was, when we got it for the funding. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're saying this, we should actually could get to channel. That's good. We have. At least we can do up. Right. And we still got to deal with it. Got my line on the home, the number G, she got the key, she killed it. So that's my phone.
Recording in progress.
At least I wouldn't last. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. All right, we're gonna call this meeting to order at 9:03, 9:04, somewhere between there. We have a quorum, we're all here. And I'm going to move to item number 3, so that the fire marshal can do his thing and then get on to fire marshal stuff.
I put printouts behind the name placard, should be 3 pages. That's what I'm gonna be talking about. So the very first thing you'll see is the current policy, which is 2A-19 certificate pay. And that's what it's all Texas Commission on Law Enforcement based. And so that's what is currently in place. The next page would be a proposed 2A-20. And this would be certificate pay that would address the fire marshal's office, because as fire marshals, we have both Texas Commission on Law Enforcement certifications, but we also have Texas Commission on Fire Protection, which is just the equivalent of TCO, but on the fire side, certifications that we have to have. So that's what I would like to address is getting those things done. And also within my office, my goal is to cross-train everybody as much as possible. So that if people go to training, or if they go on vacation, they're not the only one that can do that job. Other people can fill in those roles after you move forward. So the 2 big ones on TCFP. The 2 big ones on TCFP is inspector and investigator, and there's 4 different levels: basic, intermediate, advanced, and master. And I put my proposal as annual, monthly, and pay period, but it matched 2A-19. I also wanted to mention that for all of these TCFP certifications that I'm talking about, we have to do 18 hours of continuing education for each discipline. So for example, I have 8 disciplines within TCFP. So 8 times 18, that's how many hours of continuing education I have to do in a year, just to keep that in there. So TCO and TCFP continuing education requirements are a little bit different. TCO, there's 2 years and 4-year units and cycles. TCFP, it's an annual renewal and annual continuing education. Down below that, it would be the designated representative, which is the certification they get to be able to permit and inspect the septic tanks. And so if you don't know, us as a county, we have an agreement with the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. We have an agreement with them. Judge Reese is what's called the authorized agent. And so what he as the authorized agent, my employees, they go through a week-long class. for designated representative. And then, it's not one of those classes that, you take a test on Friday and the next day you're certified. It's not like that at all. It's about a 3-month process, and that's if you pass it the first time. I think when I looked, it was about a 65% first time pass rate. But, since we've been here, the two people that I've brought on, two people have done it, they both passed it first time. That's because we have a mentorship program going on and their dedication and hard work. So, I would like to address that one. And then, another one that I would like to get in the future is what's called site evaluator. So whenever part of putting a septic tank approval plan together is that installer has to take a soil analysis and do a site evaluation to make sure that the type of tank that they are requesting to put in there is suitable for the soil and for the environment that it is. So right now, because we don't have we don't have to have certified site evaluators, but what this would give us the availability, what this would give us the availability to do is to do basically quality checks every so often. We're not gonna evaluate every site that comes in, but this would give us the ability that when someone sends us in a site evaluation and something just doesn't kind of seem right, we can just go and they would have the certification and training to do a site evaluation to make sure that it's accurate. The next thing that it goes into is LHA, which I have the acronyms up at the top, but that's Local Health Authority. Been working with Judge Reese and Dr. Daly on expanding the role of the Local Health Authority. To include, the title that I'm coming up with it's called a health investigator. And as you can see there in the asterisks, this is a certification program that I am proposing. So the process that works under Dr. Daly's authority. This is what it gives us the ability to do. For both, so for abatement and illegal dumping, that comes out of the health and safety code. And as the local health authority, he can designate agents to go out and handle those issues and not only, address that it is a problem, but start the enforcement action as well. So they can actually issue the citations up to a Class A misdemeanor. And so again, going to the cross training, right now, if an employee that is not TCOL certified goes out, looks at an illegal dumping or an abatement, at some point they have to call either Andrew and I, we have to drop what we're doing, go out there. And so I'm trying to create efficiency within my office. So with this health investigator, what I have proposed to Dr. Daly, I've dropped off, he wanted the curriculum to include the PowerPoint slides and everything, just so that he was up to date. So he was on vacation, but I dropped off the thumb drive that had the PowerPoints, the curriculum for the two courses that I'm proposing. Two courses that I'm proposing is one is called Environmental Crimes. It is actually a TCOL class, and it's week long and it's in person. And so you go, for example, Sharon has already completed that environmental crimes class. I also sent her to a code enforcement class. Now, code enforcement is more for city officials, that cities that have code enforcement officers that can tell you like your grass is too tall and stuff like that. But it does go into a lot of the other things. There was good training value in my mind. And then there will be an FTO progress, because from Dr. Daly's point of view, I didn't want to just say, hey, Dr. Daly, will you sign off on this person? And he doesn't have anything to say on what training they have, other than just taking my word for it. I have certificates to present him. He knows what the curriculum is. He knows that they've been trained and that they've gone through a field training officer program, so that when he signs off on them, it's an official designation. Like I said, they can actually write citations after that. They would be an actual health investigator. On the back side of that one's a 2-page. Another certificate page. So like the health investigator certification, Andrew and I would not be eligible for that certificate page because we're already law enforcement. So this is what I'm trying to get my non-law enforcement employees certificate paid for. On the back of that, you'll see that one of them is, it's a TCOL certification, but it's for non-law enforcement personnel, and that's evidence technician. What we're meeting the minimum requirements right now, but I want to be able to continue that. That's a pretty big deal, you know, having someone that handles the evidence properly and that process of how you know, obviously on our end, how we collect it, but then chain of custody after it's collected is what normally defense attorneys will attack. And so I really want to have a really good process of how that evidence is handled. And with that, and with the positions that we have, both my clerk and my chief deputy clerk would be the evidence technician. So that Andrew and I, there's basically a buffer between Andrew and I, that we hand the evidence into, they take it in log, they handle it. If we ever need to get it, or the DA ever needs to get it, it's from a non-partial party. So whenever there's a law enforcement issue, we're not considered impartial as law enforcement officers, but the evidence technicians can be. And then I just added, similarly to, just specialized certificate pay, the max on that, so you can have up to 3, but I put instructor, officer, hazmat technician, hazmat operations, and Texas Department of Health and Human Services emergency medical technician. And so you can have up to 3 of those. And I have plans for all of those. Why those certifications will be important. But I've got to get that stuff started before we get that going. So those are all additional certifications that would enhance this office. And then here at the bottom, it just has the same requirements that you have to be a full-time employee, and that the application, the certificate has to be on file with human resources in order for you to get the certificate paid, and it has to be signed off by me. And then law enforcement officers assigned to the fire marshal's office are also entitled to all certificate pay listed in 2A-19. So it would be in addition to. And then the last sheet is what after the last budget meeting that I came to, these were the 3% increases, and then these are the hard numbers of what the certification pay could be. So for example, the chief deputy clerk, that's 700. She's not an evidence technician yet, because we haven't gotten this class. She's already completed the class, but that's what she would be possible to. The numbers that are in red, we don't have those positioned yet. Those, but that's what they could potentially get up to. Are there any questions or anything that I went over?
Which of these certificate pays are employees that are currently employed with you? Which would they qualify for as soon as it's approved by the commissioner's court?
Well, as soon as it's approved on the number, if the number is in black, that's what they would be eligible for. So are you asking like by line item?
So on yours, for example, fire marshal, the total certificate pay that you're eligible for currently would be $3,720.
Yes, sir. So going by the line, so that would be, I'm a basic T-code peace officer. I came from the fire side, so I had more TCFP than T-code, where Andrew came from the law enforcement side. He has more T-code than TCFP, but for me personally, I'm a T-code basic, certification.
If you'll allow me to interrupt.
Oh, yes, yes, sir.
So you currently, your current certificate pay is not $3,720.
Oh, no, sir.
But if we approve this, your salary would increase $3,720 because you already have these certificates.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Andrew, if we approve these, Andrew would automatically qualify for certificate pay increases on an annual basis, I understand, of $3,740.
Yes, sir.
And would Sharon, would she already qualify for the additional $1,200 in certificate?
As soon as I have the final meeting with Dr. Daly, because there's a document that he has to sign designating her as a health inspector. But yes, as soon as Dr. Daly signed off.
So it could be.
because she has all the classes.
Yeah, it could be a matter of a month or so
Yes,
before
sir.
she's, and for your current, for Michelle, she could, qualify for $700. If we approve this, would she immediately, there wouldn't be anything else she'd have to do to qualify?
She's already taken the classes, she already has the designation, and she's already taken the classes to be an evidence technician.
Now, if we approve the certificate pay schedule under 2A20, how much additional certificate pay could each of these individuals be qualified for? Or are you saying that certificate pay here, that is the maximum that they could be qualified for in calendar year or fiscal year 26? Or could they qualify for more?
They could qualify for more, yes. Same way with the T-Cole, if someone goes, if I'm a peace officer in February, I go from basic to intermediate. Once I turn that certificate into HR, my certificate pay bumps up.
I didn't see in 2A20 that it puts a cap. For example, whatever certificate pay you start at this year, that will be your salary for this year, and any certificates you get during this fiscal year, would you qualify for that increase at October 1 of the following year? Is that something that you'd consider?
I'd absolutely consider. I was trying to keep it in line with what our current policy was. That's why I even typed them the same way. And I sent them to Miss Jessica just to make sure, because it would be an HR policy manual to make sure that she had overview on it. But yes, sir, that is something that I would consider. But right now, on the T-Cole side, if someone goes from any one of these levels, if I turn it in, September, the next pay period is when it would go into effect. That's on the T-Cole side. But I would definitely, if that was a recommendation that you said, whatever you have October 1st, that's what it is for the calendar year, and any additional certifications would have to be accounted for on this budget.
These certificates, I'm assuming they're all schools.
Yes, sir.
Who pays for those schools?
Sometimes the employee and sometimes the county.
Does your budget this year reflect increases for these additional certificates that they would hopefully be pursuing?
Yes,
Because
sir.
I think each certificate would make us a better fire marshal department.
For sure, yes, sir.
Do you have an increase in your schooling budget for this next year?
I had an increase in training and travel.
Do you know about how much?
I don't have my actual budget right in front of me. It wasn't, the travel, we had $0 this fiscal year for travel. And I think I put in 3,000 something for actual travel.
Uh-huh. So based on this sheet here,
Yes, sir.
your increase in your department budget would effectively be, and I just did it on pencil.
Oh, yes, sir.
See, there was 110,454 just based on the current, what they currently would qualify for. So that's 101,454. And my question to the auditor is, dedicated funds, would these, and the judge already knows though, would these come from the fire marshal's
Yes,
revenue?
yes.
So it's not really a hit to the overall budget for the county, because these are monies that the fire marshal is already
Right.
accumulating due to fee.
Part of the revenue that's generated, yeah.
Is it all of the revenue? I mean, is all of his increase covered, or does any of his increases impact the county's?
Well, there's the expense side and then there's the fund-based side. How it gets paid, what the funds are. But yes, I mean, it's an expense. It has to be paid for, but the funding is coming out of the fire marshal, the revenues it's generated through the fire marshal. So
So it's not an impact to our general budget, these are all revenues that you're already generating.
Yes, sir. And it also gives me the ability, so per the Texas Government Code, any fees or fines collected that are fire code enforcement related shall be deposited into a fire code enforcement account. And it specifically says it cannot go into the general budget. So the burden is on me as the head of the department to make sure I can't spend that money, that all of that money has to go to the enhancement of the fire code or on the OSSF side, the enhancement of health and safety code. So it's the burden of me to make sure I'm not just randomly spending money on different things. It has to go, I have to be able to articulate how that enhanced our fire code ability.
And you believe that those requirements are that certificate pay falls under those requirements?
Absolutely, sir.
What can we do in the fire marshal's office, if anything, that will enhance our ability to work on the battery energy storage, the solar, the wind energy, and all of those particular areas? Is there anything that can be done to enhance, or are we maximizing what we can do in that fight now?
So, and I think some of y'all have gotten calls too. I don't know what the number is. It's upwards of, it's getting close to 30 or 40 counties that have called me. And if it's a commissioner or a judge or a fire marshal, like if a judge or a commissioner calls me, I will give them kind of the bullet points of what we're doing. But I will always refer them to a commissioner or to a judge because there's a different role to play. I say that because I can give them advice from the fire marshal side, but the good thing in our county is a battle that other counties are having to fight is that they are divided. And that has not been the case since we had that meeting in February or March. Since that meeting, the fire marshal, the commissioner's court, and the district attorney, we have all had the same goal. We've all been on the same page. We've all had the same messaging. And that is huge. A lot of the problems that these other counties call me about, I can give you the code. It's in 855. Just read it and tell them to give it to you. Where the problems come in is when the commissioner's court is divided and they don't like the DA and the DA doesn't like the fire marshal and those inner battles. So no, we are in a very, very good position as far as it comes to battery energy storage. As what the Texas government code allows us to do. We're, as a county, we are using everything in our power because we are on a united front to make this as safe as possible. We don't have the authority to just tell them no. But everything that we can do to make it as safe as possible, because we are a united front, we all have the same goal, we're all pulling in the same direction. We are doing very well. The only thing you asked is, I'm only one of two inspectors and fire inspectors. So when my time is taken by the battery, that's why I requested the 2 part-time fire inspectors, but I understand we had to cut that and it's okay. But that would be the only thing. Is that when my time is dedicated to something like that, it takes away from the inspection aspect of it. And I didn't do a good enough job of explaining. So an example I could have given you is, I think I told you we have over 70 tier 2 facilities in Van Zandt County. And tier 2 facilities, they either have a specific type of hazardous chemical or a threshold amount, and they have to be inspected annually. So if those 2 part-time inspectors had that's all they did was inspected and collected the fees for the tier 2 facilities, they would have already paid for themselves. So I didn't do a good enough job of explaining that to them. Well, I take responsibility for that as the department head.
So, and what again would the health investigator be investigating?
Environmental crimes, illegal dumping, abatement, anything that contaminates water or any type of water source, whether it's drinking or creeks, the riverbeds, any of the illegal dumping, the abatement issues that we have with properties, all of the, anything that falls under environmental and the health and safety code that is very broad for the local health authority, Dr. Daly. They can investigate and issue that, so they can take it from, once Dr. Daly approves them, they can take it from cradle to grave. Well, right now, this second, Sharon and, Michelle, even though they have the, like the training and the knowledge, because it hasn't been signed off by Dr. Daly, they would not be able to take it from cradle to grave. At some point, they would have to take that file to either myself or Andrew to go to the enforcement action of it. And every initiative, after this budget year, I'm gonna start initiatives. And generally, there will be a huge media campaign to educate the public. Because there is a lot of just, people didn't know we were supposed to be doing these things. So there'll be a huge media and education campaign. There will be usually a 6-month amnesty period. Hey, we're educating you. You have an illegal septic tank, or you don't have a maintenance contract, or you have whatever issue. This is the amnesty time for you to come in and make things right. And there were, so for example, if you haven't had we went out to a property the other day. He hadn't had, on one of the septic tanks, he hadn't had a maintenance contract since 2011. By the letter of the law, I could have backdated all fines and penalties to 2011. But he genuinely didn't know, and I'm not here to bankrupt our citizens. So in that case, we just asked him to get a current maintenance contract, and he did. So, because that's the end result, is we're looking for compliance, because all of these affect the health and safety of all citizens. So if the end result is compliance, I don't necessarily need to go into the punishment phase. Let's educate first. Let's get everything right. And then after the amnesty period, then there will be an enforcement action. And so this gives me more people to actually go out and enforce.
Will a focus of your department be, now you had talked before about code enforcement as a function more of a city than of a county. You're not saying that you're gonna be out after people to keep the grass at a certain.
Absolutely not. We don't have that authority.
What's the focus of abatement? What will your focus be in your department of this next year?
So that comes straight out of the health and safety code. So some examples for that would be having trash in an unenclosed container. So you just got trash littered throughout your yard. And the reason for that, the reason that's a problem is that infects, that brings rodent infestation, which rodents spread disease. If there is an abandoned house, or an abandoned property, we have, we have lots of properties around here that have been abandoned and have been passed down to somebody, they're not doing anything with it. And right next door is a place, is a, homeowners that keep their yard manicured, that they take pride in their house. But they've got rats the size of small dogs still coming under their property because that property next door is not being taken care of. Now, there's always context to the situation. One of the things that I was saying that I would love to at some point have in my budget is a resource, because a lot of my experience so far is that when I walk into a property that is in that condition, it is not a 30-year-old, 40-year-old man that just chooses to live that way. It's usually 60-ish something daughter who's taking care of their 90-ish something mother. Both of their husbands passed away. Things got out of control. They're crying because they don't want to live like that. And right now, I don't have any resources to give them. On kind of the law enforcement side, I have a 6-page document that I got from the precinct 3 constable of resources for housing, drug rehabilitation, lots of resources for that. I have no resources for our citizens when they just need help. They don't need it. I don't need to find them. They need help. But yes, sir. I hope that answered your question. Did that answer your question, sir?
Yes.
I have a quick question, because this is a call I got yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Does the county issue certificates of occupancy?
No, that is and again, the code enforcement, they're word changes. So cities cannot issue certificates of occupancy. Texas Government Code said the county cannot, when we issue certificates of compliance.
Okay,
So if it's not so we shall inspect all commercial properties, businesses, and 4 or more family dwellings. So if it's not a private residence, if it's the same call that I got from you, it's not a potential gas station. No, I do not issue certificates of occupancy, but I do issue certificates of compliance. And if I talked to an insurance agent or was a HSA lender that I spoke to yesterday, if it was the same call.
it was internet bank is what it was. But and it's a home in Wills Point.
It's the same, I'm doing the same inspection.
Mhm.
It's just again, it's the way that the Texas government code is working.
Okay,
It worries me a little bit. I have some communities
Yes, sir.
that, if you put a little bit of pressure on some of those people, there'll be a hint on the side of the road somewhere.
Oh, no. Yes, sir.
Like, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They're doing all they can do. And
Yep.
I mean, it just worries me a little bit about them. I know there's some old people that live in some of those places that, you know, there's just nothing they can do. They couldn't do better.
100% agree. In those situations, I have not issued a single fine in that situation. In 2 situations, 2 of those situations, I was able to get with residents within that community, and they were able, once they knew about the issue, they actually, as a community, came together and went and helped those 2 people out. So no, I'm not looking to kick anybody out of their house. I will do everything in my power to help them.
I know you will.
Do you have a tent budget?
I do not have a tent.
Okay.
But no, that's a great question, because if you look at just the letter of the law, and that's what I'm saying, I'm not going to issue a citation to someone who is crying because they don't want to live like that, but they just don't have the ability to clean it up. I'm gonna try to, I have been, so far, I have been able to find other ways to resolve the situation. Because again, my intent is not to punish people, my intent is to serve this community.
So I know there's a few communities that the average person would look at them and say, this is an abatement community.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir, I do.
So. You know, I had a guy tell me one time, he said, there's a difference between a peace officer and a law officer.
Mhm.
I don't know if there is or not. But in his mind, a peace officer looked at the spirit of the law, the law officer looked at the law of the law. But in our society now, we're such a litigation nation, you almost have to, as a law officer. You almost have to, or you could end up in a bad position. In other words, if you come up on a piece of property that you deem as dangerous to live in.
Mhm.
And you recognize that, and then you don't do something about that.
If it's dangerous to live in for the occupant, that's when I do have to take steps, but I do have, like I said, that 6-page resources that I can help get them temporary housing, help get them funding, if they meet certain criteria. So in those communities, I do have resources that I can help them out with.
I'm with you. There's problems everywhere. Like, I mean, our county's got one.
Yeah, it's called the totality of the circumstances. And for me, anybody can sue anybody, right? So I'm not saying that you won't get sued. But I've never had a problem because I document everything and I can reasonably articulate why I made a decision that day and what the decision was. And justify it.
Most of my decision-making process right here will be based upon Kevin Palmer being in front of that department. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely, and
Things change all the time too, like
For
force
sure.
changes, everything changes, so, you know, it's difficult.
well, I am in the process of creating standard operating procedures and policies that, so for example, we had, some of these things are kind of a case by case scenario. We had a scenario where they went to do the final inspection on a septic tank. And when they came to do the final inspection, it's not out of the realm, they had what was called a redraw. So they had submitted plans to us and said, this is how we're gonna install the septic tank. But when we show up, something had happened, they installed it differently, and they're supposed to provide a redraw. Well, they didn't have the redraw. But, upon inspection of the septic tank, it was just fine, so it was gonna get signed off on. We just needed the redraw. They never sent it to us. And they got mad at us because we didn't issue the final certificate. So my guidance was that was a verbal conversation. Hey, will you give me, you need to give me the redraw. That was a technician on site, but I never got back to the office manager. So I was talking to my people last night or yesterday, and they agreed that needs to be documented, that within 3 business days, we send them an email saying you have to submit this in order to get your certificate. So, I understand what you're talking about that because things do change, but those SOPs, you would have to change your SOPs or you'd be out of compliance with the department. That is my goal, is that if I get run over by a train tomorrow, y'all wouldn't even notice because nobody would notice because my office would run exactly the same, whether I was there or whether I was. We're not there yet, but that is my goal. And it's an achievable goal.
So the only change I'd like to see is the certificate pay for the LHA. I think it should be 500
Huh?
for now. And then, once it gets established and we see what the
What
the results are, we can look at revising it if
Mhm.
you don't have an issue with that. Okay. All right, is there anything else to ask the fire marshal about the certificate pay? Ron, thank you very much. All right, now we're going to move on to the budget. And what I would like to do is this was my 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. project last night. And what I did on this sheet, let's see if I can blow it up just a little bit. You have a copy of it on your desk. And if anybody in the audience wants one, I have something to share. I went online and went to the approved budgets for 21 through 25 and pulled the data out that we had that was on those sheets because they were all pretty consistent in that regard. So you'll see what the tax rates were for the different ones. There you go. Up here, you got the tax rates that went down, and then we go up a little farther. This is the voter approved rate for each year, and you can see where we went. Generally, it was except for 25, it's generally the same as the voter approved rates, the rate that we chose. And if you go down, and then I went through the numbers and I picked up the revenues. This is the maintenance and operation revenues, the general fund that we showed. And again, these are budgeted numbers. This is not the final numbers. This is the budgeted numbers at the first of the year. And you see the changes. The 26 million in 2023 had to do with moving 6 million into a special fund so that it's used for emergency, and that's 6 million of that's what that is for. But you can see the trend there, and then you look at the M&O expense and you can see the trend there. I'm going to come back to that shortly, especially to last year and this year and where we're at. This is all very relevant to where we're at today. Okay, so you see the total road and bridge for each year, and then you see the road and bridge expense for each year. It roughly goes up 1 million, pretty much 1 million each year in that regard. And then the ending fund balance, you'll see down there and how it's increased or decreased uh, along the way. And then the bottom line is transfers in and out. That had an effect on. I did that because it had an effect. Started in 22, reporting transfers between accounts to keep funds within accounts, and that didn't necessarily affect expenses, but it affected how things got reported. So anyway, that's where we're going on that. Let me go through. That's the history, the revenue. First thing I did after our we had a meeting with Sandy, Ben and I did, and it was very, very helpful. It helped me understand much more about our revenues and all the revenues where they are. And what I did is I took this sheet right here, this revenues, and I looked at what our 25 budget was and what we'd actually received through 8/23, and made a projection out for actually the projection on current tax levy. It's not based on history, it's based on what the actual. So anyway, I went down and projected out based on what our actual is through August, which is, pretty much the end of the year. And then the M&O come down here, and M&O is 17 million right there was the projection right there. And then keep going down, and then these are all different funds that we have to keep money. It's kind of like the fire marshal said, the money that he receives for his stuff goes to a special fund, and then expenses related to the fire marshal get charged against that fund. And so these are all the different fees or the revenues that we got from the different ones. And for my purpose, I eliminated all the transfers because they just wash each other out in the long run. So I didn't put any kind of budget numbers in there. So it all came down to, and this is several things right here that the SB 22, the road grant for the sheriff's office and the prosecutor. I put those down in here, and then these are FEMA disaster. We've paid out this year $1 million for the picking up the trees alongside the road, and we are still waiting on FEMA to what's called obligate and pay that. And it's quite obvious. It's been 3 months now, and we keep saying, well, they're working on it. So it's obvious it's not going to get done by September 30th. So I moved it over into, so that added actually $1 million to our potential revenue for fiscal year 26. Okay, so that's 19 million. So that's what I did on the revenues. And then I also, Sandy enlightened me on the road and bridge, and each one of the road and bridge departments has their revenues that come in from other sources other than just the special road tax and the 25%, because you've got money that comes in from can't read it. I have to increase the size. From license plate, I think there is state Department of Transportation rebate, the $10 fee that the tax assessor collector charges on vehicles and whatnot. So this is all based, and it's based on what where the vehicle is located. So these revenues, again, what I did is I took other than the property tax and SRT, I took them based on what we had year to date and projected that out for fiscal 26. Okay. And one of the things that I put in on a lot of yours is a disaster relief reimbursement. This is what's Cat B claims that y'all have hear a lot from Vicki McAllister as she goes through. Precinct 1 and Precinct 4, I believe, are complete, and we know the amount that we should receive, and so I put those in there. Precinct 2 and 3, I don't, 3's just about done, and 2, we still have some work to do. But you've got disaster relief of, in there, so. I put those numbers all together and created your revenues, and so this is the sheet that it came up with. Okay. So if you see that down here, this was the beginning balance, which I got from Ben. Is what you were using. I think most of y'all budgeted that amount into your contingency for the year. These are the revenues based on those sheets that are attached and are in the packet that you got. And then there's the expenses that we went through, we discussed, and we got that. So, and this leaves your ending fund balance in here. So that's how I got. So it according to this right here, you're in good shape, because Sandy said your ending balance needs to be at least $150,000, $100 to $150,000, and everybody's there, because that's the money that you're going to carry over into the new year. So that I need to get behind that full screen, and I can do that. Get to the next. I don't need that.
We're gonna get you a mouse pad for Christmas.
Well, it's not that. It's okay. So that's the road bridge. So all right. Summary expenses. This sheet is the one that the budget, the worksheets that we've got that we went through that had everybody's, and this is the summary sheet that shows all the different departments and what their budget is for the requested budget for 26. And then there's 25 right there, and it shows the actual, and it goes on. So this is all kind of a combination. It's all linked in amount. And what I want to show you is down here. You can't see it. So the total amount of all of these accounts, $23 million. That's the budget request that we've gotten right now. It's $23 million. The revenue from the other sheet that I just showed you at 19,771 million. And so that means we have a deficit in our budget of $3.5 million. So we are asking to spend $3.5 million more than we're going to have revenue to account for. And this does not account for the contingency. Right now I have 0 in contingency, and it does not account for the building purchase. Both of those are taken out and are not in that 23 million right there. Now, how did we get to this point? You know, why is it we're at 3 million in the hole? Okay. And I'm gonna go back to this history right here. Okay. So if you look at our revenue projections through here, you'll remember that last year we had we took in 17 million, or the M&O amount, 17 million or 20 million total, is the well, that's expense up here, the revenue amount right there. Total revenue is at 31, but the M&O amount revenue is 17, which is pretty flat from the year before. And the reason it is flat is because when we started our budgeting process, we were planning on using the voter approved tax rate. And that's what we calculated on. That's what we were generating revenue on. And then at the final approval of the tax rate, the Commissioner's Court decided not to do the voter approved rate, but rather to keep the rate the same, which was going to be, the voter approved rate was going to be
42 cents.
42 cents. And we went with 40. So kept the rate there. So what happened was we upped our expenses last year by about $2 million. And then we cut our revenue by about $1.5 million. And that's not good. That compounded the issue. So now going into this year, Okay, that $2 million of expenses that we added last year rolls over to this year. It's mostly in personnel. Half of it was in personnel. It was a 5% raise that we gave everybody and several new positions. So that additional amount rolls over into this year. And this year, we're not, yeah, even with the voter approved rate, we still are only going to take in $17 million. And we currently have budgeted in the current budget a $2 million increase. Of that, a little over $1 million is related to personnel, to payroll increases, salary increases, and new positions. And the other $1 million is related to expenses that we don't have a lot of control over in some cases. And if we get into detail, I'll be glad to explain them to you. So anyway, that's why we are now in the situation where we have to figure out, we got to cut. This needs to be zero.
Can I ask you a question? We were talking to the fire marshal just a minute ago, and I'm looking on page 97 here of that, and it has the fire marshal's expenses at 566,252.78. But does your revenue reflect his dedicated funds that?
Yes. Yes, it does. It's over, and I'm trying to think where.
Because he's one of that department is one of the largest increases in
How much is that increase?
220.
Yeah.
200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. I think that's under special.
This is the one. It's 566.
All right, here it is, right here. This is all fire marshal right here. There's the fees right here. And I increased it based on history, based on the amount that we've collected, which is 84,000 the year to date, so it's 90. And then the septic maintenance fees gone up to 205, and I increased it to 210. And then game room fees, fire code enforcement and fines, and depository interest. So yes, there is the amount of the fire marshal in our revenue side that is used to offset the expense side. So now that we have a number we have to get to, lots of suggestions.
This summary expense, Judge, it says current as of September 4th, so what they spent.
No, the spent amount is not current.
Not correct.
At least is current as of the budget amount. That spent amount is from June. So it's not, I believe.
$3,400,000. That's where we're at.
What would if you went from a 3%, say 1.5, how much that cut it?
Well, here's our problem. We can't eliminate the 3%. Well, in order to change what we have committed as far as the salary increase, we have already published the 3% for elected officials. And that has been published and that has been approved by the Commissioner Court. To change that, we would have to go back out and publish it again at whatever the revised amount is going to be. That has to go out into the paper with a 10-day notice before we actually make a change. And then that also triggers the grievance period to begin again. So that's what we face if we change the 3%. The 3% represents roughly $500,000. No, wait, I'm sorry, that's wrong. Let me see. 3% represents $378,000 increase.
Just on elected officials.
No, on everybody.
Oh, that's,
Everybody.
oh, yeah, that's not just.
That's countywide, 3% countywide represents the 378. And this, I presented all that because, up to 5% was over 500,000.
Okay, yeah.
So we're gonna be forced to cut services somewhere.
Well, we'll just go on. But let me just explain, where we're at. Okay, so the total of, we added county insurance. Well, we added new positions of $500,000. Okay, and then you add the insurance costs on that, you're looking at $566 million that we added in costs for new positions. Thousand, I'm sorry, yes, 566,000 in costs of,
That's salary and insurance.
yes. So it's quite clear to me that all the new positions, or not, maybe not all of them, but the majority of the new positions need to go.
I agree.
And that'll get us in the black.
No, you're still $3 million off.
And this deficit does include the Paul Michael building.
No,
No,
Paul Michael building is not in
It's
here
clear.
at all.
so the Paul Michael building's clear.
It's clear.
Well, we got, maybe I don't understand.
What he's saying is that it's in neither revenue nor expenses for this next year.
Right.
It's in neither one of those.
That's one of the decisions we're about to make.
If it is an expense, well, how much are we gonna be down?
That's another 4 million.
So we'd be 7 million in the hole.
Mm-hmm.
So currently, the other option is to reduce all the budgets by 15. 3 million is, when you divide 3 million by 23 million, which is the total budget, it's like 15%.
Well, there are budget lines that you don't have the option to reduce by 15%. Like insurance or the revenue,
Insurance would only go down if our payroll went down, right?
I'm talking about liability and
Oh, I see.
auto insurance. Which, it's been bumped up, but we still haven't received our second invoice for this year, so I really don't know what it's going to be.
We're making an educated guess on that area.
Right.
And so the new positions equate to how much?
$500,000.
So that goes down to 2.9.
What was the differences from last year? Do you have it anywhere?
The differences of what?
The budget? Like how much was the over last year?
Starting on page 97 of the budget that he sent out yesterday.
Yeah.
It shows you the line by line. For example, the county judge budget is down 25% this year. The county clerk's budget is down some, but we added the elections, so that that changes that.
And that was a minimum.
Right. It was kind of a wash in that regard.
The emergency management is up pretty substantially. from 32,945 to 67, which is 104% increase.
Okay, well, 25,000 of that is a vehicle.
Right.
It's not a purchase, it's a transfer. Of a current, the commissioners court decided they wanted to give the transfer to the other department. So that's what 25 of it. 10 of it is the emergency management bus, which I made the decision that, or I'm going to request that we get rid of it. Because we're not using it, and it's just it's not critical to have. So
In the but you can go down through here. I mean, every one of these will have, we can legitimize.
Yeah, you can see it right there.
Yeah, you can legitimize every dollar that is being asked for in the budget. And if we legitimize every dollar that's being asked for in the budget, then we're going to be $3 million over. Or we're going to have to cut some stuff.
right.
But that's why when I say emergency management, there's a good reason for why it's, you know, at the number that it's at. Either we're going to cut stuff or we're going to accept the budget as it is.
I don't think that's an option.
No, I don't either. But when I say that, you know, when I say a particular department has, you know, they're in the fire marshal, they're 66% up. They're 66% over their budget for last year. The youth diversion program is, you know, it had 49.9 last year. This year's 69.9. It's a $20,000 increase. So, you know, our large expenses, the jail, the sheriff, you know, dispatch is going to be, you know, it's a 20% increase this year.
Again, that they got 2 new positions. Can we go through the new positions and make a decision on those?
But the fire marshal's new positions will pay for themselves, won't they? So.
All right, I'm gonna go down to, we got fire marshal has a new environmental person and a new nuisance. It actually has what do we got here? Oh, has a new secretary, chief deputy clerk, $46,000. An environmental compliance officer at 44,000.
But Michelle is working now, right?
Correct.
Which is the chief deputy clerk projected for next year.
They're moving her from a clerk position to a chief deputy clerk, which is about a $7,000 increase, and adding a clerk position. All right, we're down the rest of the
Do you
list.
think that the fire marshal's office is different than all the rest of the offices? It brings in revenue. Correct?
It does, yes.
So what he said, I mean, like if you just removed him away from this equation and made him an island to himself and we came back to him after we looked at everything else, what would we have? Is he most of the new positions?
No.
No.
Let me go down the list of positions, and then we got the library's requested a part-time position, 17,500 a year. The deputy constable, $37,500. The district attorney, civil lawyer at $100,000. The election administration, the net amount is about 15 because you're taking 2 clerks out of county clerk's office and moving them to the election administrator, so the net effects is about 15,000. Road and Bridge 1 reduced theirs by 1 road hand, and Road and Bridge 3 increased theirs by 1 road hand. So the net effect is 0 in that regard. Dispatch, we requested 2 new dispatchers. The sheriff's office requested a part-time position to go to full-time. The dispatchers' positions are 45,963, and again, all these are without these are the raw salary, they're not benefited, the burden rate. And then the sheriff's office converted a part-time secretarial position to full-time, and that was a $19,000 increase. And the jail added a maintenance position of $55,000.
And we think that the maintenance guy will probably save us what he probably makes. Is that correct? Somewhere in that area? Is that what you said, Bobby?
It's a good possibility, yes. That it could.
You don't have to be a humdinger of a maintenance guy. Right? I mean, but if he is,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, and at that pay, you should be able to get pretty good.
that's full time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's,
So if we, again, if we go to the fire marshal and positions, so if you're gonna say they'll pay for themselves, so I need to go back in and up their revenue by over $100,000 to account for the two new positions. Is that what you're saying you want me to do?
no, I'm just asking you, in your mind, I mean, how do we, like, we're trying to reconcile $2.9 million.
You don't have to increase their revenue if their revenue and expenses are not included in the budget,
They are included in the budget.
but they don't come out of the general budget.
They do come out of the general.
But everything he makes goes back into his department, right?
Yes.
So
What he makes gets paid out to his department is the way it works.
right, but if the money that he makes is paid out to his department, then it shouldn't come out of the general budget. If the money that he collects is paying his,
You're basically saying it's its own department. What it brings in, it pays for its expenses.
But it comes through the general fund.
right, but that's a transfer, that's a wash.
Right. But it still shows up in his general fund figures.
But it should also show up in the
fire-
plus and the minus.
Right.
None of us are mathematicians in here, Kenny. We need your help. I mean, the judge is, but I'm not. I'm not a mathematician.
That's why I removed all of the transfers between departments, because it only complicates the process of trying to account for the expenses. In the long run, you've got all expenses, you got the revenues, you got the expenses, and you're looking at the bottom line. Okay, if you just start determining, okay, well, this is a different fund, so we don't have to account for it, then you got a problem. And that's what I ran into when I was first starting this. I was fully did not understand the fund-based accounting that we use. And that's why in this revenue side right here, I took that out and took out the transfers between the different accounts, and just we got all the revenue right here. The only difference, road and bridge is revenue is kept separate, and road and bridge maintenance or expenses are kept separate in that regard, but everything else is in one budget.
Well,
It's kind of like
I
Cliff
think-
said, we can justify all this, but we gotta cut it somewhere.
Well, I think one of the most important things in county government that go in the county, or actually in the nation, that goes on is elections. We're nothing without elections, and I think what the clerk's office did is right. I mean, and I think Susan took a pretty good cut in her office to create that.
And we're still, still going to do what we've been doing.
Correct.
That one election day, we'll shut down the office, we'll do the election, because there's no way that just two people. We're still, we do it on, you've got to play our part.
I understand that. I was just
Yeah.
saying
All
that I think it's very important that we don't cut
I
her.
will cut down. There's two positions I think we have to keep of all the new positions that were requested. And one is the environmental officer for the fire marshal and the civil lawyer for the DA, because he's already hired and he's in the back of the room. Those are the only two positions I think that we have to keep. The rest of them can be eliminated. until such a time as the budget would justify them. But both of them, I think the civil attorney will actually, help us in,
Did we this year, reduce the outside attorney costs in the budget?
we kept the legal cost the same at $75,000, but we can reduce it, I would think. But majority of that is not civil. It's all, majority of that is related, well, actually, one of them was civil, but the majority of it's related to, the jail and issues that go on in the jail, or has been in the past.
Well, for example, we had us for planning systems yesterday for chat.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
We had to get, an example, yesterday, we had requests for planning assistance for an employment issue, sheriff. So. We didn't cut it too much.
I'm sorry, I can't hear
We
you.
don't even cut that too much.
Okay.
So when you say new positions, is the two new positions in the fire marshal included?
Only one,
But it shows two new positions,
okay.
but he's got.
That is what
one.
is in the budget right now. What we're talking about is all of the new positions, and the only one that we're going to keep, that I recommend that we keep, is the environmental compliance and the.
Okay, I see what you're saying, yeah,
So,
so you do away with that.
yes,
Yeah, the election administrator,
well,
I think we
I
should
consider
add,
that a wash, in that regard. I
right.
didn't, I'm sorry, and there was another, and then,
Man,
yeah, the road and bridge, but, the deputy constable, we don't have to have, okay? The part-time library, that can go, the, road and bridge, dispatch, the two new dispatchers that I requested or worked with the sheriff on, they can go. And the part-time and full-time at the sheriff's office, you wanna keep that? That's 19,000 plus you gotta add insurance, so it's about $25,000.
so if we cut all of those that you're recommending,
Mm-hmm.
what does that save us?
That would save us, it's about
Like it for,
I mean, the library's asking for $17,000 of help,
right,
like that's not a whole lot.
I'm sorry.
compared to the grand scheme of things.
yeah, somewhere around there.
cut 120.
At least 400,000.
And this does. fall down to-
It'll cut at least 400,000 out.
This is not, it's not bigger than this, is it? Am I wrong with that? Because that revenue comes from the special tax, right?
But I think we look and see what our road tax budget is. I mean, you can see on the last page of the entire program here, it talks about road and bridge. 1 is a 9% increase, road and bridge 2 is a 3% increase. 3 is 16 and 4 is 11% increase on the road and bridge requested budget compared to the 25 budget.
I know I can cut $200,000-300,000 off of mine.
Is these figures you got here, Judge, after I took the 250 off of mine?
Yes.
Yeah. I've already cut 250 off.
Well, and again, another possibility, another way. Is to change the allocation to the road and bridge from the general fund. Let me find that one right there. And that's what's down here on the bottom of that sheet that I handed out. Very bottom. You'll see, I can't pull it up. Okay, right now we're at 25%. of the general fund goes to road and bridge. If we went to 24%, that would give the general fund $189,000, or basically 190,000 more. If we went to 23%, that would be 370,000 back to the road and bridge, or to the general. 22% would be 569,000. 21% would be 760,000. So we changed those allocations.
Well, I can tell you right now that if you talk to the general public, they're concerned about their roads, their sheriff's office, emergency services. That's what they are concerned about.
Okay.
We're fixing to have a reset, that's what we're fixing to have.
Because they don't know about all the other stuff that goes on.
I don't care about what they don't know. Like we can't educate them. I'm telling you what they're upset about.
I know.
You know that too.
But the reason, I agree, but the reason is because they don't know everything else that goes on. Just like they said that our tax rate years and looked at the past 4 years, they don't know.
Well, they get us confused with school.
Yeah.
Real easy to do. I guess.
And if you take that off the roads, which I'm not saying do that, and you want to know, they ask you why our roads getting fixed, says, well, tax rate went down, we got less money. Maybe they'd understand it if you showed them that way.
Well, I was gonna ask y'all to give me some money to buy another blade, but it looks like y'all in worse shape than I am. I mean, as far as the county goes, like we're in pretty bad shape. I mean,
Well,
not bad shape, but I mean, like we have some cutting to do.
This ain't sustainable.
That's correct.
no, it's
We
not.
gotta cut the in half. We can talk about, well, you know, everything that we gotta have, or that, you know, the citizens want, and I agree. But bottom line is, we're gonna end up like the county was 20 years ago. And end up going in having to get certificates of obligation just to make payroll.
Well, labor is your most controllable expense.
I say you start with the races.
I think that pushes us in the wrong direction, perhaps. Because we actually save money by our employees having longevity and knowing what they're doing, because they can work faster and do more with the time that they have. So I think it might be moving in the wrong direction to necessarily look at raises, you know, considering the economics of it. I think cutting positions, the reduction of the positions is a good first step. And I believe that we should perhaps look at some of these areas where we see substantive, adult probation. It went from $2,500 to $78,000. That's a 20% increase.
What about vehicles? Are the vehicles a necessity, or is it just there because it's their year?
There's only the sheriff's department has $500,000 in new vehicles, and that is an area that I think that we can forego for this year, because they have gotten 3 years worth of new vehicles, $500,000 each. That may be one area that we could go. I don't like making it. Yeah, I would rather the sheriff be here to look, hear it, but that is definitely one of the quickest ways we can get there. Okay, I'll just hit the major stuff. So if we're in agreement to leave these 2 positions, and then that we would eliminate all the rest of the new positions, that's a savings of $440,000. Is that, well, again, I don't want to say that's what I'm gonna put in here, unless I hear an objection. The other thing that,
Whoa, you're talking about the dispatch too?
yes. Yeah. It's not, again, we gotta do it somewhere. They're able to get by with what they have right now.
So environmental compliance, keep right now.
That is correct.
That's the other.
the civil lawyer, Mr. Tony.
And then you're saying the EA.
And the EA, yes, EA. I don't really consider that a new position because we just,
Well, we just want to make it clear. for the-
right, yes, the E and EA, that's correct. So I'll do that, do that, do that. And so that will,
You watch it.
yeah. The new extras that are, your new one.
That's what I'm asking.
Yes.
Is that included in doing away with?
Yes, The new one is in the road hand. Okay, so, the other thing, we're talking about, getting rid of, or I gotta get my binder and I can get the details. I believe it's 562,000. 500, well, three.
Go get me a coffee.
Mitch and I'll handle this. What's your name again?
No problem with the meeting.
You know, and I have. Well, I'm gonna run those soon too. Actually, I can pull these up on the screen. But it's just finding them is the problem.
Court recess.
I'll make that motion.
Yeah.
Second.
We'll take a 5-minute recess and we'll be back at,
5 minutes.
in 5 minutes, which would be 10:28.
That was just rich for one else part. So it dials. I agree.
Oh, mercy.
Right.
Yeah, we go to my road and bridge real quick. I think I could put $200,000 to it. Just wasn't. Thank you. On that road and bridge material. Make it 1.1.
Where you at? See,
Same as this year.
Roll in here.
The issue with cutting your budget here, it doesn't go back to the general fund. Unless we change the percentage of that gets allocated.
it stays at 25%, it's just 25%.
We may have to look at that for this year. I'm not saying permanently at all, but. We may have to look at it this year.
I'm not sure be better.
I don't know.
Like I've said before. What Mitch is saying, the public sees the roads, but there's more to this job than just roads. A lot more.
We don't take care of them roads, we won't have the job. That's what I say.
Yeah, you can still take care of the roads.
530,000 for autos. And the sheriff.
He needs to be here.
So.
I wish he'd come up with.
How is it determined how many phone units is it based on officers? And then other units that they keep that aren't assigned to officers that will cover and all the issues and stuff. Do we have any?
I don't have any clue.
No, see, I don't need.
No.
I don't think.
So 530. Okay, well now we'll go to do another category. Which is near and dear to my heart, but public buildings. We had 600,000 in there, which is for was going to be for window replacement and repair and other services for the courthouse. If we want to go ahead and cut that down or out.
Doc, you can't cut the windows down.
Yeah, we can. We haven't gone out for an RFP. We haven't gotten the pricing. We can just cancel the contract that we had to go do that. And fine. I guess the real question is gonna be, do we want to go ahead and apply for the courthouse renovation grant next year? Because that's it's gonna be about $40,000 to do the new cost summary in that regard.
I'd come back to my first question on that, the grant. We need to know, what is it gonna cost to restore this courthouse?
That's what I'm talking
So
about.
you said it costs 40,000.
I wish it cost 40,000 to restore it.
No, to find out.
To get an update on the, it was 25,000 last year, and it may get it at the same price, 25,000 to update the costing that would be used for the grant process.
The reason I'm asking it is, you know, if they come back and I'm gonna use hypothetical numbers, if they say it's gonna cost 30 million to restore it, and we got a 15 million grant. We can't afford that, or if, you know, they'd say, well, we'll give you 15, it may cost 14, who knows? But we need to know.
Okay, well.
I do,
We need to know that before we get the grant.
and
Well, we can always apply for, we still have to make an investment of $25,000 or $30,000 to get the costing updated by professional cost estimator. And then go ahead and use that to apply for the grant. And, or we may not apply based on whatever the estimate is. But I have money in the budget for that 25,000 or for that, estimation at the present time. So now what we're talking about, the 500,000 and the 100,000 for equipment for the, this is basically countywide, but the majority of that's supposed to be dedicated to the courthouse.
if you took the building and ground maintenance, you took the vehicles. I know it's not gonna be popular, if you reduced the road and bridge. You're at $2 million right there.
You're right. But it's, and again, those are the easy ones. Well, first of all, are we okay with, well, taking that down from 500,000 to say 200,000? On improvements to the building. Okay.
Are you gonna have enough money to fix the windows here?
I don't know because we haven't gotten the cost on what the windows are gonna be because we haven't. I have not submitted back the information that they've requested because I've been a little busy with the budget. And
I know you.
and so, but anyway,
I have.
that's there. I mean, they're just waiting on us to go ahead and do that, to put out an RFP to determine what the costs are gonna be. And, but, you know, if we don't want to go that route, we can just look at canceling the contract, not put the RFP out at all. Or I think it would be best that we do continue forward with it because there's no telling when we'll ever get to, restoring the courthouse. We might as well do
You need
it.
to fix the windows.
Okay.
That's just what I think.
All right.
Is that machinery and equipment stuff, is that like for AC, stuff like that?
No, it's actually, it's for the boiler. I've already gotten quotes on the boiler. I'm just waiting for it to go out.
Yeah.
It's vintage 62. And the quote is actually over $100,000.
Me and you, for 62.
It's older than that, or it's not quite as old as us. So.
Okay,
Well, not all of us.
all right, Judge, can I suggest this? Take that out. If the boiler goes out, you got contingency. If it doesn't, we don't have.
We don't have contingency right now, but I don't want to take it all out.
And
I'll take 400,000 out, leave 100 and 100.
Yeah, I would be in agreement with that.
Okay. 400.
But I don't want to put in jeopardy, the courthouse needs to be, I believe the courthouse needs to be maintained. We need to continue on the road that we're going down.
Well, we're maintaining it. We're just not, we're not fixing the things that long term.
Yeah.
but if we get, and I agree, we need to keep it maintained. But just take the windows, for example. We're maintaining it. But when we get the cost of this whole restoration, all that's gonna be taken into consideration.
And we'll have a grant to do it.
So we don't need to
But your
teach
2 year
you all the
work.
stuff that the grant
Don't
do.
need- right.
That's what I'm trying to
But
say.
then again, we've been trying to this process for over 10 years, 15 years total. And something always happens. And,
That's right.
You know, and that this is kind of like the insurance policy. Well, and even if we do it, it's going to be more expensive than we did it when the restoration gets done. At least it will reduce the cost of the restoration.
That's right.
If in the long term. So
I think you have to look at the future of the county. Where this thing needs to get restored. And also, we need that building for expansion. It's gonna happen and that opportunity will not come.
Okay.
Well, I do believe that we want to go after the grant this year because I think that this building here is important to the community. I do think that it's important. I think that the downtown area is important to the community.
I second that.
That the town square is important to the community. And I see the Paul Michael building as integral to that because we will have to, and not only that, but when we put, it would be my desire to put the annex, which is right now where the Justice of the Peace and these, it's my intent to put that back into the stream of commerce. This Ochoa's building over here was listed at $1 million. I don't know what it sold at, but it sold. That Ochoa's building with bombshells in it, that sold and it was listed at $1 million. Now, did they take a 50% cut? That's unlikely in the real estate market. So it sold for a substantial amount. If we sold that annex down there and we sell the district attorney's office and we move those folks down there, we can't do a renovation here without a place like that to move everybody to.
Okay, so let's move on to the Paul Michael building, actually over the Trade Days Boulevard building. Are we committed to moving forward? Because I have some ideas and what we can do. Because if we're committed, I don't believe we have money in the general fund to make the purchase in November. But we could go out, we could finance it through certificates of obligation. The issue is a certificate of obligation is going to put us in a debt situation that goes back to the taxpayers. And we have made a resolution that we will not do that unless we went to the voters.
That's right.
And so,
if we're going to raise their taxes to do anything with the Paul Michael building, then we absolutely have to go to a vote. And I think that if we are going to renovate this, it has to also go to a vote.
okay, I agree.
Well, I'm in agreement to move forward with it.
Well, here's the deal. If we're going to meet our commitment that goes to a vote, that would have to occur before we got a closing date in November. That's the issue, and there's no way to get it on an election now.
Well, y'all know where I'm at.
You're sitting down here beside me.
I'm over here on
Behind
the south end. I'm
Parker.
on the south side of the. I'm
The
on
track?
the south
You're on the
side.
other side
I'm
of
on
the
the south side tracks. And I had a bull I was gonna kill and eat, but I need the money. So we're eating chicken this year instead of steak.
And in order to do what we're after, we'd have to severely cut back these different departments.
Yeah, it's labor's where you're cut, like you're gonna have to probably give up the raise. And probably have to maybe give up some people. I mean, I just don't know. There's a lot to give up there to be able to buy the Paul Michael building, so you're gonna have to sacrifice something right now. Or something that you want down the road.
We're just at the current time, we're just trying to get back to zero.
Yeah, we weren't even talking about the Paul Michael building.
But there is $100,000 in the budget, and half of it's here in the public buildings to account for utilities and lawn maintenance and things like that. There's $50,000 in public buildings for the Paul Michaels building. There's $50,000 in the insurance. They said it was going to be $46,000, and they valued it like $28 million.
We have made a commitment in the form of a contract to close on the Paul Michael building in November. And there are penalties associated with losing that opportunity. There's absolutely no reason to put money into the budget this year for doing a cost analysis on the courthouse or anything else if we are not going to move forward with the Paul Michael building, because we cannot renovate this building without a place for everybody to go to.
I agree.
And we're or I guess Cliff said it a while ago. Selling the DA building in the annex. That's over, I mean, we don't know what will bring, but it's probably over half the cost of what the Paul Malfa building costs. So we'll recoup some of that money back off of assets that we have now.
We say those things, it'd be real simple for us to get like somebody to give us what it would cost, what they would bring, what their, an appraisal on it. Like,
An appraisal doesn't tell you what the market will bear, though.
Yeah.
It'll give you a good idea, but I mean, we have a pretty good idea.
Yeah, we have a pretty good idea. I don't know what the DA's office would bring.
Well, we just cut $2 million.
I think this over here would probably be
I think
pretty
so.
nice piece of property to own in Canton, Texas.
I think so.
Well, there's a way we can cut 2 million if we want to do it.
Yeah, we cut that percentage, that 25%.
The vehicles,
Oh, yeah.
the improvement, and then the road.
So what percent did
Gonna
you?
tell you
wanna
right now,
go
it'd be
to?
real hard to
'Cause
sell
I
that
had
to the
that up on the
public.
screen. What percent did you wanna go with?
Okay, think about it like this.
I'm thinking,
There's 4 precincts. We're talking about $500,000.
okay, that would be 22%.
Okay, that's $125,000 per precinct. I know I'm giving $125,000 back because I haven't used it all. That's all we're asking. I mean, I say that's all, it's a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things, at the end of the year, when you say I only have $125,000 left, that is nothing. So we're asking for $125,000 a precinct. That's, Mitch, you're pretty good at this. How many? That's not even a mile of a road.
Well, that's depending on, I mean, like the way you build them. I'm just saying the way your operation, I'm not slighting you, the way your operation. It's 125,000 for a mile, but overlay one. That didn't sound right, did it?
Can you get a test? My roads are good.
No, they are. You inherited some good roads. So like, what shocked me this year was like, we didn't have anybody even bid road oil because we don't build roads anymore. Like they bid the blended oil, but the blended oil is twice the price of road oil. And so when I started calling our suppliers that we had years ago, they said, y'all quit building roads. So I can build a mile of road with like Bobby's done. What's it cost you a mile this year?
28 every half, so it'd be 56.
Yeah, and that's with the $128 barrel oil.
Well,
Which is better oil, no doubt about it. But if you use $60 barrel oil, you could actually put a bigger cap on your road. That's not what we're talking about.
if we gave
We're
up
talking about losing $125,000.
if we gave up 120, if we gave up $125,000,
Well, it would be based on this allocation.
yeah, I'm just
It's not gonna be a straight.
Well,
deal.
let me just point out that in mine, my budget is 3% increase. And that means that my budget for this year already went down from what we spent last year, and it only reflects an increase in salaries. And I also decreased the amount of benefits. So in my budget, we have cut.
well, I'd be willing to cut that. I mean, if we're asking to cut from everybody else, I think it's only fair that we cut too.
I cut mine. When I saw it right out the gate, I cut it pretty hard. I didn't cut my material as much, but I took a bunch off mine, and Bobby just did yesterday. Didn't you?
Yeah, day before yesterday,
Day before yesterday.
took 250,000 off my material.
I didn't remove anything off my materials, but I took it off of equipment purchases and I took it off some other areas.
Right, but once again, like the judge said earlier, we can cut all we want to, but it doesn't go in the general fund. It goes.
Well, at the end of the day, we're cutting it so that we can buy the Paul Micro building. I can't remember what you call it, the property on.
Trade Days Boulevard.
Trade Days Boulevard.
But-
Yeah, we need to quit calling it the other thing, right?
But No, Mitch, what you cut, say you cut $200,000. Now, if you go down to a percent, it goes to the general fund, but if you cut $200,000 and I cut 200, it doesn't go to the general fund, it just goes into your general fund or mine, it doesn't go into the,
Right.
everybody's, so.
I got it.
I don't know if I'm gonna get agreement with, but I'd go down to 22% for a year.
But can we get it back after a year?
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta,
If it continues on.
If you raise tax, yeah, you raise tax.
It's 23%.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know which, I guess it was during my time that went up to 25.
they just right before us.
Was it? Okay, but it was 23 before that.
I don't know if I can have anybody agree with me on that, but that's mine.
I can't agree with.
Well, but the,
So Roden Bridge can't cut, so let's go and look at the general
Can't
fund.
cut
see what
Roden
we
Bridge.
kill.
Do what?
can't cut road and bridge. It doesn't, it wouldn't go back into the,
No, if you cut the percentage, I'm talking about cut the percent.
of the county's contribution.
Yes.
There's 25, we're talking about going down.
Give me my 250 back, we will.
We need to allocate some money, to put pads in those pews out there, don't we? It's pretty uncomfortable out there, isn't it?
We're trying to help y'all learn to increase your prayer life.
There's some pretty nice chairs right there though.
Let's see who is the percent.
What do I?
Let's start right there. Let's see if we can agree on a percent, because that's a good chunk of money right there.
Yeah, problem is I can't. It rolls.
I told the sheriff we're talking about this. I'll text him, let him know. So he could be watching.
You just had it up there. Right, whoa.
Yeah.
So this is 24, 23, 22, 21,
Yeah,
and 20.
yeah.
I think 22 is good, 21 or 22. I'd actually go 21. Talking about $160,000 precinct.
I ain't giving nothing up on until. I just think the public's priority is roads. And I'm
That's why
not-
we gotta take a,
And I know you think leadership is, they think that we treat them like we're the parents and they're the kids, and maybe to some degree sometimes that's how it is, because we do know more about the ins and outs of government, but my roads are in bad enough shape, I just don't want to give up anymore.
well, on the rate we're going, we're not gonna have any roads if we don't start cutting something.
Yeah, but if we keep what we got in our road and bridge, we got a chance of having a road. If we cut it, we don't have a chance.
I'm
No, if you don't-
operating with
if you
half
don't cut it, The
equipment
money keeps on going down and
that I need.
not gonna have any money.
Fix the windows on the courthouse. So like on the Paul Michael building, I know, I'm just curious, like we put 200,000 down on that, was that lost? If we don't go through with it, that's
Yes.
totally lost.
Yeah, so it's gone.
And that makes
260.
Well,
So Judge,
actually, the 60,000 didn't get lost because. We had that money in the bank earning interest all this time. And we didn't have to convert the utilities over.
Or
So.
pay insurance.
Or pay
I wouldn't
insurance.
try to sell that too hard.
so Judge, I know we can't take a vote, but I wanna reduce the percentage on road and bridge. So how do we know if we can do that? Do we take a vote here or we just gotta wait till court?
You got 4 and you got 3 that say no. You're the only one that says yes.
Oh, Cliff said no too?
Oh, I'm just saying that I reduced everything in my budget except for road and bridge materials.
Right, but it didn't go into the general fund.
That's right.
So
But it's
I'm
not-
trying to get money back into the general
But
fund.
it's not coming out of it. So
No, it's not coming
It's
out.
staying.
That's why you gotta lower it.
It was given to you from the general fund.
That's what I'm saying. So if he cut it, then it's not coming out of the general fund, am I right?
Right, it's coming out
So,
of the money. It's already-
Cliff, would you be willing to lower the percent?
I think that, I think that out of everything in this county, that maintaining the roads is critical, and I don't think that's a good idea.
So y'all are saying $160,000 is gonna make or break how the roads are gonna be kept up.
I think what my concern is more of an issue of precedence. You know, if we cut it a little bit this year, and then next year we don't hold the rest of the departments to a lesser increase, that it'll happen again. You know, it's a big number. Why don't we just cut it from some of the other large departments? I think one area that's have we agreed that removing the vehicles from the budget is going to be a benefit?
We have on the sheriff, that was 510,
He's in the loop right now.
510,
I don't know. He may be on his way up here.
and he's out of town.
Oh, well, I don't know. He just didn't, I'm talking to him, so.
But there's also, the fire marshal had 75,000 in there to buy 2 vehicles. And we want to cut one of those?
Are one of those associated with one of the positions that we've reduced?
Yes.
Then that
Well,
makes-
no. I don't know. He's buying 2 vehicles, but there's only one person. Again, I don't know. I think he's,
Well, we could even do. We talked about cutting the precinct 4. Constable part-time or whatever.
yeah,
We were passing a vehicle from the sheriff's department or something to them. For their vehicle,
Right,
so that vehicle could go to the fire marshal
okay,
instead of a new one.
all right.
So that would cut one of them for sure.
Well, you know, if we want to do that, we got some more over at the sheriff's department. that are
Exactly, so
available.
we could put 2 vehicles there. I'm not saying permanent, but for this year, they could get by,
Okay,
you know.
so that would take 75,000 out of the department.
75,000.
All right.
$3 million to
You
go.
okay with that? I mean,
And then we've got, but yeah, because we can accommodate their needs with other vehicles.
exactly.
So then the other one is the other vehicle that we have is the precinct 4 constable. And he's on the annual rotation. The issue is $87,000.
Could he hold off for you?
That comes back to what I'm saying. We're asking all these people to hold off a year, 87,000 here, 100,000 here, but yet we're not willing to give up a penny on our road and bridge budget. I mean, y'all want to cut everybody else, but don't want
I
to take
get
a
what
penny out of
you're, I
us.
get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Let me tell you where I'm at. I'm with the public. I'm just represent precinct 1.
This has to do with the public.
I understand
I
that.
mean, safety with these vehicles.
I understand that,
The
but
road is
them
public.
vehicles-
Everything has to do with the public.
Them vehicles, like I talked to a fire department the other day, and they were talking about a road that they wouldn't go down. They said, we're not sure we can even service that area because the roads are so
And
bad.
$150,000 is gonna make a difference without.
It'll make a real big difference over there where they're at.
It's
Let's
the way
see,
I
that's
do-
a- that's a-
the way I do roads.
That's
it's
150
3 miles
loads
road you
of
took
crushed
away from me.
concrete.
And I mean, 3 miles.
So y'all don't want to give up anything.
I already
But
did
yet
give
we're gonna
up.
stay in $3 million in debt.
Well, I think
I think what I give up.
I've already tried to be an example by cutting my budget from what we did last year.
I just cut mine by 200. I don't know if you put it on there, Judge, but
You're cutting your budget and nothing to the county
Right.
finances.
that's
zero to the county finances.
correct.
All of that is going to your fund balance.
So we need to lower the percent.
All right. So,
We had to lower their percent to make a difference,
Yes.
which would be 160,000.
Well, I mean, depends on which percent you
What
decide
you wanna go
to
to.
lower it to. But I don't think that the difference here, Brandon, that I think is important, that I'm picking up is that you and I and the other commissioners, we are looking at how to cut these budgets, but somehow, somewhere, we're $5 million more expenses this coming year than we were this year. I'm not the increase.
Right.
So why don't we just reduce the increases? And give the salaries. Give the salary increase, but reduce all of the rest of the increases. And see where that brings us to.
So in that case, let's just take road and bridge, for example, because like we got those numbers. You would, Cliff, you're right on point.
Yeah.
Mitch would have to go down 6%, Bobby 13%,
Mhm.
and me 9%.
No,
Yeah, 6%. You had a 9% increase from one, and Bobby's would have to go 13%, and I'd have to go 8%. I mean,
But I'm just saying that all of the departments have increases.
right.
Well, you look at your summary sheet right here and it has, so what percentage of the
Yeah.
increase or decrease they have.
That's right.
But the issue, and I agree with you, Cliff, I agree. But the issue with us is that we reduce it, but it's not helping the problem. It's just going into our fund.
he's saying though that if you want equality, everybody has to cut that.
Yeah,
Percentage.
yeah, that's what I agree with that.
Yeah, so
Let's see where it's at, if everybody just does that. But boy, there's gonna be.
everybody does
What you just said, like, cut
Then it's just salaries only.
everything but the raises.
But then you have the stamp, it went up, the contracts and the software programs, they went up, everything went up, so you can't make it relative. Well, that's true.
but we don't pre-purchase the stamps. You know, if we go to the end of the year and somebody hadn't bought stamps, that money wasn't actually spent. So if I have a budget this year of $100 for stamps and I get to, month number 9 and I run out of stamps,
You can buy stamps.
well, I have to figure out a place in my budget that I can switch that money from. And move it over to stamps so that I can get more stamps, but I have to live within my means in my department. And each of these departments must live within their means because there's not a tree with money on it that the county clerk or the district clerk or the judge or anybody else. We have a substantial decrease in the amount of fines that are collected from the county court at law and the district court at law. But their budgets are to some extent increasing
Right.
this year.
But their revenue is decreasing.
But their revenue has over the last several years consistently decreased. So every department, in my opinion, every department that's asking for an increase must decrease by, if it's 15%, then, it might be 15%.
Pretty simple math.
It's simple on the outside, but it's difficult on the inside.
And it might just be that we go back to the department heads and we say, look, this is what you've asked for. This is what you're allocated. Present us a budget that fits within your allocation. To me, the whole process should have been done that way. But I understand the limitations that we have. But it doesn't make much sense that we tell everybody, give us your Christmas list. And then we have to be the Grinch and Santa at the same time to say, here's what you have available. And here's what we've decided that we're going to cut from your budget. makes more sense to me that the department heads and the elected officials have the opportunity to say where their cuts are gonna come from. And they present back to us a budget that fits with, that they are living within their means.
I agree with that.
I agree, but I don't think we can hit the mark we're wanting to hit without making some big hits. And I think we've got 3 big hits. I guess we agree on 2 of them. I'm the lone wolf on the one.
Because I don't want to tell a department head or an elected official, this is where I've decided that you have to cut.
That's right.
So
I like that.
do we? It looks like we're gonna be here from the judge. You're gonna be working till 2 o'clock in the morning next Monday and Tuesday up there.
Works all the time anyways. I think he does.
Nothing new. What, doing what? I mean,
Judge, you have done good on this.
what?
As long as this takes it off the judge, that's the point. This takes it off of him and says, department head, you've got to cut your department budget by 15%.
I agree 100% with you. I
He
still
wants to
have a
cut
problem asking them to cut their budget going into the general fund. But yet we're not cutting ours to help the problem. We're just cutting ours just to put in some coffins. Because if we need it sometime, well, we can go grab it. It's not going to. I just have, that's right.
I understand that. I see what you're saying.
But I don't want to cut the allocation to the road and bridge to the extent that, you know, that we take up. Because I think that does impact the residents. I don't want the road and bridge funds to be cut to the point that, oh, departments, you continue, keep your 15% increase.
No,
We're just gonna reduce the serviceability of your roads.
right. We do what you said, just what you said earlier, you're getting department heads, how you gotta make the sacrifices, and then we gotta make them too. Whether it may be 24%, it may be 19%, who knows? But I think we need to do our part to help the general fund.
All right, let's go through contracts. It's my department. We agreed to increase the volunteer fire departments from $600 to $900. That is roughly a $40,000 or $40,000 increase. Do we want to cut that?
You have to.
Okay.
Let's bring it. I mean, I don't like it. But we don't have a choice.
All right, Presley District, it went up $100,000 and there's nothing we can do. It's all because of the legislature giving the tax compression. And they're not collecting money for the school districts, therefore we absorb their portion of the cost.
Oh, they're not collecting money from the school districts
For the school districts.
for the school. Okay.
The fee's based on the amount of money collected for each taxing entity. And when the state did the tax compression, which is now $200,000, then this the school district getting their money from the state and not from the present district.
So we pay all of the appraisal district's costs.
So the burden that the school district was paying shifts to us now.
The schools don't pay nothing.
No, they do pay some.
Okay.
Okay, because not all of it, but anyway, that's roughly 40 to 50,000 of the 100, I believe is from that. And then the other 50 was just increase because of in their expenses. Economic development, again, that's money that is in an economic development account that we can't spend it unless we budget it, and it's already there. And we committed to $50,000 to the two, or 25, 20 to the two entities in Wills Point, so I gotta put at least $50,000 in there. But I can cut this back down to,
50.
60, actually, or, 65. We'll do 10,000 to, CAC and, 5,000 to, CASA, I believe, or vice versa. So I can do economic development to 65. All right, this 10th administration, that is kind of a fixed contract deal that we've got. Soil conservation, it's a contract, animal control. We talked about upping our animal control from 12,000 to 18,000 next year.
Is this a spay and neuter program?
It is. Which we basically ran out of money, first of this month.
Drop it to
It's
15.
being well used.
Yeah, I think it's important.
Well, it's all important.
We increased it, or, well, and yeah, we haven't signed a new contract yet, so now's the opportunity to change it. But, right now, it upped it from 1,000 a month to 1,500 a month,
How about go to 1,200 a month?
1,200 a month.
What are they, what's that? 1,200, 12,000, 14,400.
You math magician, you.
I graduated from Bain High School, went to Texas Tech, I'm Red Rose.
So it's 3,600 savings. All right, Meals on Wheels. That's something we do through EdCog. We want to kill it.
No, I don't think that's wise.
Okay, subdivision engineer, I lowered that from, or up to 10.
Is this Brian?
Yeah. See, and a lot of it is getting paid by the clients and not by us. So there's really, we don't need it there.
I don't know, Brian helps me out a ton on subdivisions.
Well,
I know he does a
Drop
lot
it to
of,
75.
if you look, we've only paid, $750 this year.
no.
Yeah, that doesn't, can we?
What was the other one, like that, what's that 6,500 over there, on
Where?
that same line, over there on that fourth column, from the left to the right?
Prior year, 6,500.
1 year.
Wonder what that was, wonder why that happened.
Well, there was a point in time which we decided not to actually have Brian bill them instead of it going through the court. In other words, they would be paying us and then we would be paying Brian, and so we switched it over to being that, they would just pay Brian directly.
Hmm.
So that's what you're looking at right there.
Can we reduce that to, can we reduce that to 2,000?
We can.
It was at 3,000.
Yeah, we spent 750 this year
Right.
because the majority of the cost comes from the developers.
All right. Put that about 8,000. Okay. MHR, that's the Andrew Center, and that's the same as we did last year. We upped it last year, so I didn't make any kind of change to it this year. The Vincent County Child Protection, I think that's a pass through from some funds from court fees or fines or whatever, that it's not really shows 25,000. Let's see. 24 is 25,000 year to date. Is 7,500.
Yeah, I don't think I would mess
Okay,
too much.
Veterans Memorial, They haven't, we budgeted it and they haven't done it. They haven't done it in, well, this year, I guess.
What do they use that money for? Do we know?
I don't know.
Okay.
And what we're looking at right now is year to date, what month is
Zero.
that? What year, what month is that, 25?
I believe it was, it was June
Yeah. June.
is what it was. All right, Child Advocacy Center, that is a pass-through amount. That's why we're over budget. Well, actually, I know for a fact that we're at 74,000 for this year. And, it has to do with money we collect that we just passed through. So I'm gonna leave it at 75.
Yes.
Historical Commission. 18, I'm down it from 1,800. They've been at 1,800 for I don't know how many years, and they have never used it. So should we just go ahead and eliminate it?
Please.
Okay. There's the other one, child safety allocation. That's another pass through from something that gets charged. I think that's at the license plate office or court safety. So we don't need to change that. All right, that's contracts. Now we need to do. Oh no, other way. Non-department. Okay, legal. 75. What do you want me to change it to?
What is that?
That is charges for attorneys to handle suits that get brought against us in conjunction with TAC. We work with TAC. TAC has a legal department, but we also have a local attorney or in Tyler that deals with several different suits that are filed against us, primarily from the jail, from inmates in the jail.
Okay, lower that to 50. That would have covered the last 2 years. It wouldn't have covered 23, but
Yeah.
I mean,
All right.
that's one of those you don't know.
All right. Well, yeah, 23 was that was a unique situation. So legal down 25,000. Okay. And accounting, auditing, I think we're at 45,000 this year.
Just like that.
Is what it is. Consulting services, that is 100,000 is 25,000 of that would be for the cost estimate for renovating the courthouse. And then another 25,000 I had in there for any kind of planning we needed to do for the Paul Michaels building, which would probably be not Paul Michaels, the South Trade Days Boulevard building, which 25, I don't know. So I can lower that down to 50,000. Okay, next bidding notices, it's probably good. Maintenance contracts. Don't even know what that is. I think what has happened is whatever we were assigning to that account got assigned to another account, because you can see it was or else we haven't gotten a notice yet for this year, because it was 6,000. I'm gonna leave that where it's at right now. Subscription dues. I'm gonna leave that. Insurance all. Again, I can't, I upped it by 50,000 just based on what I know the radio towers were added this year, and that's going to be on there, and a lot of equipment from the staff. I added it to 350, and then there's another 50,000 in there for the Trade Days Boulevard building. So, and I don't know what we're at on the insurance amount right now, so I'm gonna leave that where it's at. Charity expense, that is Pauper's Funerals. whenever we have someone who dies and there's no family around, we will pay for the cremation of the amount of $600. That's the arrangement that we have with all the funeral homes. For the one in Van anyway. We'll lower it to. What we at? I'm gonna lower it to 4,000.
I wouldn't, I'm not in favor of ever changing anything for widows, orphans, or the homeless.
Okay. All right, miscellaneous,
Sounds biblical.
I lowered it to 500. Why don't I just eliminate it? Okay. City contracts. So, I'm just trying to look at what departments had the biggest changes.
Oh. Mine was the
It's 11:15. Do we have anything in the lunching budget?
Well, we've got another budget scheduled for Tuesday.
I think,
We're about 2 billion, we're about halfway there.
I think,
Brandon's opinion. Be like Mitch, can I ask some questions?
no,
If we look at this over the weekend or on Monday, study it, and actually come back and be prepared on some of this stuff, what we need to do.
I would like to recommend that we invite the department heads
Yes.
to participate in this process by revising their individual budgets and looking closely at those and seeing where, because if they can't, I mean, I really believe that they can help us through this process.
If we send out a mass email, or whatever, to all the department heads and tell them, you know, this is where we're at.
We
Help
either
us out with what you can do and bring it back to us.
Yeah, we have to cut the budgets and these other line items, or we have to cut salaries.
No. I sent out a mass email saying where we're at. Just pretty blatant and said, hey, help us out where you can.
Okay.
So we can get it straight.
Well, and I can, in these, we're in agreement on all these right here.
Yeah.
Although we haven't talked to the sheriff, but,
And then tell them we're gonna have a meeting Tuesday and I can be
Okay.
present Monday.
and, I can, and I can see where we're at, and I will send an update, and I'll also try to get updated actual year-to-date actuals. If I can, the problem is, but we'll try to do that, year-to-date actuals on those.
Hey, you gonna send out the email? Assume you'll send it out.
Yeah, I'll send it out.
Ask them to be present here Tuesday, or some stuff may get cut, they don't want it.
Well,
Sounds
it may get cut even if they're here.
Right, it might, but at least they have at least we can have, at least Pip can have this dialogue of lawyer-client questionnaire
Right.
and make him happy. Right?
It's unlikely that I'll be happy.
So,
No, ask him to be present,
now-
that could be here.
moving on in that regard, okay? Cause we have to have, it's on the agenda for Wednesday to approve the budget. So are we going to make all these changes, and I'll make these changes, and then we will go through Tuesday with everybody. And then y'all are gonna be okay with us going forward with the budget if we get it down to 0?
If we're not, we can just table it and then call it, and then
I prefer to.
well, I won't
Get it
be
done
here
by
the
the
24th.
What?
I won't be here the 24th.
Yeah.
My
If-
wife planned a cruise several months ago.
can go.
I'm.
You signed up for this.
If we got it straight.
I know where we can get our $1
table
billion.
it. Let's call it a special session or something.
What'd you say?
Nothing.
Okay, so just one of those,
All right,
just a simple question is like.
And
so-
what we'll do is I'll have the budget on for Wednesday, and y'all get it Tuesday night. And, now technically this is supposed to be posted. It's supposed to have been posted before we vote on it. And, which, I'll post it Tuesday night or as soon as I get it done after the budget meeting. And that way we can discuss it, we can vote, we can decide whether we want to table it or want to go ahead and move forward with it.
I think if we table it, since
But-
we're being commissioners court, we are prepared to have it, because I think we should call a special session. Maybe, and I hate those things, but at least say, hey, we're gonna table this because we don't have it all finalized. And we're gonna have a special session on X date. That way, it
Okay.
lets them know that what we're doing.
Well, and unfortunately, we would need to schedule it. Well, before the 24th.
Yeah, I was gonna
You
be
want
gone.
to do it?
I'm leaving on,
Right.
I think it's the 20th.
You just leave, we'll make your 20%.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Let's go ahead and make cruise.
I'll try to Zoom with you. And that don't work too good.
All right, well, I'm thinking, what is it? We got.
If we had, if we
did it
came back,
Friday,
we could do it like Thursday, the 18th, before that, 18th or before.
okay.
I think that's right. I hope I'm
Well,
telling you
I
right.
won't be able to do it. I was thinking Friday the 12th.
That's fine.
I mean, I want to, if we're in the mode, I want to get it done.
Yes.
I agree.
So, but if we're gonna do it Friday the 12th, we gotta post it Monday. So, we'll go ahead and post it on Monday and,
The 8th.
Monday the 8th, we'll post it. We'll go and have, in the event that we have to, table on Wednesday. And we can't vote on the tax rate until we've voted on the budget. So that's part of the process, to get it done. All right. Is that good with everybody?
It's good.
So we don't have a meeting on the 8th.
No, the 8th is the date we gotta post the meeting.
You know, but I thought we had a meeting on the 8th and you got.
No,
that on
it's
the
on the 9th.
9th. Okay.
It's on the 9th,
That worked.
the day before our budget workshop.
So just to be clear. The only way we can affect the budget is to change our percentage. I'm talking about road and bridge, to change the percentage.
That's correct.
Yes,
To
yes.
help the budget.
To help the general fund.
And if we change the
Yeah.
percentage, then it will necessitate that we have to take something off of our budget.
Not necessarily.
And it's not equal on it because you get an allocation. And you're out, the percentage allocations, I don't think I have up there. But,
I say not necessarily, Mitch, because you have X amount of dollars, you already have X amount of dollars in your reserve. So basically, if you budgeted $1 million this year and you had 400,000 over here in your general fund,
oh, here it
and
is.
you come down to $100,000, you still got that money over there.
These are the percentages that are allocated of the general fund, the 25%, and they're allocated in these percentages to the different precincts.
Based on road miles.
Right.
Yeah. I hope y'all sleep and think about that.
Okay. So, anything else on the budget? I'll put the email out, do that. We can discuss two of these, Commissioner Court binders for public information. We have never published or posted or distributed the binders for the Commissioner Court meetings. There are counties that put them out online for you to view, and I fully intended to do this when I set up the website that we've got that shows the date of the meeting, the agenda, the meeting minutes, it was gonna be the binder, and then the link to the video. It was all the information, it's transparent, full transparency. And so I intended to do that, and when I got through with everything, then I started thinking of doing the binder part, and it's when I realized that our binders have a lot of sensitive confidential information in them that need to be redacted. And it was going to be much too time consuming for me to do, and so I told the one gentleman that's been asking, sorry, but I can't do it. So now he's asking it through the public information request, so we have to do it, somebody has to do it. And so that's one of the things that but there's other issues with the fact that we have to have the binder ready, and most of the other counties will tell you, when you publish your agenda, you publish your binder at the same time. Okay, so basically all the information has to be in when you publish your agenda, and now we're talking 4 days before the meeting day. So the issues that we have is we don't get supporting documentation until sometimes when the agenda item gets announced up at the during the meeting. And then there are other times, one of the things that's going to affect mostly is the bill payments. Because we don't, in the past year, the bill payments typically didn't get put up until Tuesday before our meeting. And if we're going to be publishing in order to avoid having to post the binder multiple times, we're gonna have to get in sync with our making sure that all the information is there in that regard. So and I got to talk. Kenny, I've talked to Ben about this, get together and see what we need to do to try to speed the process up, or to be able to do that in that regard.
Can I give my opinion on that?
You may.
You know, what do we do before the internet? If me, whoever wants a public information, if they want the information, come up here and get it. We don't have the time, like you said, it's sensitive information to go through all this. If they want it, come get it.
Well,
What are they doing in 1985?
here's the deal. It doesn't relate necessarily to the internet, because we would have to do the exact same process to get it to them if they came up here. It has to
Yes,
be redacted.
yes, but you have 65,000 people in this county, and I don't know how many come in for public information requests. They get it, we give it to them. And you're saying one gentleman has asked for all this and all this. That's 1 out of 65,000.
We're obligated by law if he requested
Right,
to provide it to them.
to provide it to him.
Not,
You don't have to put it on the internet. I'm saying we don't have to put it on the internet. If they want it, they come up here and get it.
Is it every meeting that information has to be redacted out of the binder, or is it from time
lot.
to time?
Well, for example, that $100,000 check that you got from the developer, okay, we can't put his check in the binder unless we block out the account numbers. We have some, there's a lot of things that in the monthly reports from the different departments that I'm not sure if it's legit for us to be providing, because they have some, I know like Tommy Monk was very detailed about all his actions, and I don't know if it's if that stuff can be.
That's why if they come up here in person for a public information act, you just take that check away instead of spending how many, I mean, I don't know how many hours you spend on this budget. I don't even want to ask you how many hours you spend on it, but there's no sense. And that's redacted. I mean, you spend your whole week trying to go through documents.
But it's required by law if you request
To put it on the internet. But
Well,
if
I think
if
it's
they
a good
request
thing
it,
that
they just come up here and you can get it.
It's a good thing that we now have an attorney.
Yeah.
There's a certain amount of things that you can and cannot disclose, and that's on a per request basis, so
Right.
they have to be very specific. And then we can disclose it, and let them know it's not public information.
Right.
So,
Well, the binder, I believe, again,
Still goes back to,
Somebody
say if the
said-
judge is doing this and he's got this many papers And he's gonna put this on the internet for the bonder. Well, that can't go, this can, or.
No,
that
that's
can.
what I'm saying.
Scratch this
We
out.
have an attorney that can take a look at the binder and determine what needs to be redacted and what doesn't.
Okay, so,
That would be part of my, Johnson.
right, and for the time being, we'll just respond to public requests and not make it, on the internet. All right.
I'm gonna vote, I'm gonna say that we need to provide the binders, that we need to make those public as part of our publication and that our attorney will redact what needs to be redacted and we'll publish them with the agenda. Or if somebody comes up here, if a department head comes up here and doesn't provide their backup in time, for the binder to be published, then that item unfortunately will have to be tabled. I don't agree with the bills. The bills, we're doing those just as quick as we can, but I'm talking about an agenda item that comes up. I personally would be in favor of our attorney reviewing, redacting, and those being published, if not at the same time as the agenda. Certainly, because it's not legally required that we present.
That is correct,
But
beforehand.
But I think it's important to have it, within 24 hours of the agenda being published.
Commission has to have. You have to provide it if it's available. If for some reason it's not available because it's still being edited or
Redacted.
redacted, at that point in time, it's not available, but it will be made available in a reasonable time, so it says.
Okay.
So you're the new
Unless you're
attorney?
raising your hand.
I was wondering where that was back there.
I was stimulating my brain.
Okay,
Okay, reasonable.
all right, so.
What a gray word.
We'll address that.
I
And
didn't read
then
him there, Dave. Huh.
Commissioner Court policy, there, I don't have the rules. We'll talk about that later, but I do want to address, on our, agenda notices. There's two things that going through, by other other counties, what I've seen that they've done. One is, I'd like to see us have the name of the commissioner or the presenter put on each agenda item. Do we have a problem with that? So we know who, and if like if Jessica is gonna do it, and she'll submit it to one of us to sign, but she would be the one that would be listed as the presenter, stuff like that. It helps out understanding who's presenting it. Second thing, they have, and I didn't bring it in here with me, but I've seen it on several different commissioners court where they have a clause down at the bottom of the deal that says that they can go into executive session if needed on any agenda item. And then it lists out all the different codes that you can apply when you go into executive session. So all you have to do is say, we're gonna, per the agenda request, we're gonna go into executive session per the to discuss, whatever it is. So
And it would be, and that's very good that we didn't cut the civil attorney position earlier, because that is another thing that we'll want to have communication with him before we put it on the agenda or before we get ready to do that, so that he'll be aware of what it is that we're going to try.
So what I'm saying is, there's times where you need to talk about it in private, but you don't have an opportunity because you're in the middle of the commissioner court.
Yep.
This will allow you to go into private session.
He can have those codes.
Yeah, to discuss the agenda item that you're gonna.
Michael, will she have to put in those codes?
No, they're down at the bottom.
They will be
already.
listed out. All the codes are listed on the bottom, and then when you say we need to go in executive session per, and then you read out the code number that's on the bottom.
It's my understanding that somebody makes a motion, identifies if it's seconded and voted, then you can go into executive session. If it's listed on, so I think that works.
Yeah. So, okay, so I'm on.
During the regular court. you
Right.
can go.
Yes.
Yeah, I like
Go right for it. And it doesn't, and there are times you just don't want to schedule executive session, you can still do that. But, that's, okay, that's the only things I've got. Is there anything else that y'all want to talk about? All right, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Seconded and approved.
at 11:35.
Thanks for good.
Oh, I got something I have to tell you too.
Okay.
Bobby,
What?
think hard about that.
Oops, I forgot to,
Seriously.
Mitch Curtis. Yes, sir.
And you're,
One.
Yes,
sir.
Single term,
Six or seven.
you must be civil to him.
Concerning the county and constituents.
If I give it, reach out and we'll find.
So you'd, so I don't have to talk to Tonda about a lot of things. Like it would be, I'd come to you first.
that way. Kind of takes a lot of stuff. Her plate, so she-
That's probably a good thing because she has a big plate.
Yeah.
So. You know, I got something right now, but I don't know. Really, I'll talk to you.
Oh, she'll be recorded probably.
Okay, one of the things you gotta be careful of is when they do the YouTube stuff, they start recording before the meeting and you never know when they've stopped recording. So, no, well, yeah, because it's still on, but I don't know. Yeah. So we'll wait. I'll talk